Oh, hey, everybody. What's going on? Were you looking for a Q&A episode this Friday? Well, you're not going to get it. But before we get into that, let's talk about who brings you today's episode. Who brought you? Who brings you? I don't know the right way to say that. You know the deal. Black Rifle Coffee. Go to blackriflecoffee.com if you like coffee and you want to support an amazing brand founded by amazing people. The boot campaign is what I would try to direct you towards right now. That's going to be in their rotating banner up top. My recommendation is just to click on it, see what it is, see what it does. And then beyond that, of course, you can set up a subscription for coffee, whatever roast you like, light, medium, dark, decaf if you have a deep hatred of yourself. And you can have it delivered to wherever you are, whenever you want it to be there. So you know where to go, blackriflecoffee.com. Today's episode is a special one. We had a very full weekend up here in Kalispell this past weekend. We did a Pillars of Preparedness with a tourniquet application with Mike on, I think that was Friday, then a personal protection course on Saturday morning to midday, then in the evening a book signing for Mike's new book, Prepared. If anybody didn't know that, he just wrote a book. I'll link to it below. I'm contractually obligated to do so. I'm just kidding, but I like fucking with Mike. And then a leadership seminar up in Whitefish on Sunday. So it was a super full weekend. But in addition to Mike being in town, his team was with him. And this episode, Mike and I are joined by Casey and Erica Hildreth. Obviously, they're a married couple. I guess they could be brother and sister, but that would be super weird. So we're not going to talk about it in those terms. Casey is what I'm going to call the director of training for Fieldcraft Survival. He actually put on the pistol course, which I forgot to say that actually occurred the same day we were doing the leadership seminar, a defensive pistol. Like I said, full weekend. And we've been kicking around the idea of doing a couples date night slash, I don't want to say tactical. Tactical is not the right word, but like a physical preparedness, physical, personal defense, but all based around couples. Because if you're a couple, you need to be able to work and fight as a team and rely on each other. The first few minutes of this episode, I turned over the reins. Michael was unfortunately off at a Bukkake seminar, so he wasn't able to come in here and do the camera switching. So I turned it over to Rock Hard, and he didn't hit any buttons for about 5 minutes because he was probably over there trying to Google the best seasoning to put on a mini dachshund. But I digress. So you're going to have to deal with one camera angle for about the first 5 minutes, and then we just go right into our conversation, and I'll leave it at that. I don't know what to call this episode. It got completely off the rails, as most of them do. But I hope you learn a little bit more about what we're trying to put together. And do me a favor. In the comments, give me some feedback on whether or not you think couples training is a good idea. And when you realize that it is a good idea, do me a favor and tell me what it is that you would like to learn as a couple. And that's it. Shall we get into it? I think so. All right, here we go.
Okay, got the red smoke. Gun run, north or south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. Get cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
Here's a question for you. How come we do a month for celebrating Pride, but one day for celebrating dead veterans?
That's crazy. I saw that like June 6th that morning. I was tracking. I felt bad because I had the book that was released. I didn't post on the book because it's like June 6th.
Can we
is
get like
priority.
1 hour from you without talking about your book?
I'm talking about the book.
Hey guys, so on D-Day, which happens to be the same day that I launched my book, because 79 years before I wrote my book, they knew I was going to on June 6th.
At least I was courteous enough to launch mine on the 5th because I have some respect.
More prepared.
More prepared.
You know, they release books on Tuesday. I didn't know this, but this is how the New York Times bestselling list works. They do a week of tracking. The list comes out every Wednesday, and all books are released from publishers on Tuesday.
That makes sense.
And so it just
Same thing
happened.
with movies coming out of the theaters on streaming services.
Yeah, they gave me 3 days, or 3 dates, and one of the dates was June 6th. The other date was like July. And I was like, we're prioritizing the first. I'm not trying to sell anything, but the link's down below if you want to get it.
Yeah, totally.
It's right here. Just tap the link. You
Use the
can buy
code kimchi for nothing off.
How was your Rogan podcast? How was your Rogan experience?
I don't know if it was that good. Joe was on a terror that day. He talked way more than I did, and he wanted to talk about like aliens and conspiracies and shit. And it's like his show, so I don't care.
Well, I
Yeah.
listened to it. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
You should talk into the mic, not over the mic. You know what I mean?
you
Like you
talk
can move
into-
the thing
This
around.
He's new here.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh.
Is that better?
Oof,
you
way
have to be
better.
a fist from the cylindrical
Yeah.
object in front of your mouth.
Yeah.
That's you
Check.
picking up when I'm. Yeah.
Just
got
fist
what
it.
you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Just fist
All of a
it.
sudden his face
That's
is
pretty much my mantra.
Don't be afraid to come and get some. You know what I mean? And another way to say that is mole and labe. So,
Come and take them. Such a provocateur.
I like how you're flexing that arm that has
Am I?
lobby. Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure the camera.
Erica's so uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, she's like,
I'm like, what are
who
we
do I
doing
talk over?
again?
so you've been in that room with Joe. It's weird because one, he's a good friend. I've known him for a long time now, but it's his show. But you're also aware of the size of that audience. It's just, it feels, you know what I mean? It's a little bit less casual than just the four of us sitting down.
Right.
It's just like, fuck, dude, I guess here I am again. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know. I mean, the conversations with him, the ones I have with him off air are the same as the ones I have with him on air. So I don't know.
But you have to be one of the guests that have been on there most often.
No way. Like, he's got like Red Band and
Yeah,
Eddie
but
Bravo and like.
You've been on more than I think as a veteran or as at least former mill guy. You've been on more than all the mill guys. I think I
Maybe.
looked into that.
We didn't. I don't know if we even. Well, we talked about the military a little bit because we talked about that Air Force officer who's talking about UFOs.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about military stuff at all.
Yeah. I just mean from like the comedians are the mainstay. It just seems like
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, Andy's on again. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. Probably never will be on again though. That's fine. Yeah.
Why?
You'll be
Did
on
you
again.
something? Did you mess something up?
Probably. I didn't remember what I said.
You know, you blacked out.
I love how people think that I like know what's about to come out of my mouth. Half the time I'm like, that was an error. That was.
Should have never said that.
Yeah.
When I asked him about it the first time, he's like, "Yeah, I don't think it was that good." And I was listening to it today, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's really good."
Yeah, but
he's like,
that's
"I
what
don't
Andy's
know."
always going to say.
Yeah.
that was a
I
good.
don't know.
That was a good podcast. I didn't listen to it because it didn't populate on my thing.
Did you hear? Okay, let's just appreciate for a second Mike's sentence right there. Yeah, that was a good podcast. I didn't listen to it because it didn't populate on my Spotify, but it was good.
Let's go back to what you.
I'm used to lying to friends about how good they are.
Right.
I mean, hey, Casey's the best. Right?
I don't know what's coming out of my mouth. The expert right there.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, who's Casey? Casey, when you introduce yourself, I guess that's like or Erica. She's
So-
here too.
Ladies
Yeah.
first.
Erica's
Ladies
like in
first.
shock. She's like,
What's
I'm like,
happening?
what did I sign up for?
She's actually,
already?
I feel like she has a slight level of terror that she's actually involved in what's going on
I
right
know,
now.
Right.
The jackassery.
Yeah.
She's
I'm like,
this
what
is gonna
did
be
I
a
actually
professional
sign up
podcast.
for?
Just so you know, it's not going to get any better.
Oh,
So,
Yeah. Only
this is as good as it's going to get.
It's only downhill from here. So Erica is Miss Kentucky, like literally Miss Kentucky.
let me ask you this: do you like being introduced that way?
I don't mind it.
Okay.
I've worked hard for that title.
Okay.
And I represent my home state, so that's important to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some
I'm okay
people
with that.
though are not okay with it. That's why I was going to be a gentleman, and I was going to ask because these two
I appreciate that.
swinging dick bags over here were just like, "Oh, that's Miss Kentucky." And it's like maybe
Bro.
she what?
not this guy.
All right, just check.
It's just my wife.
I like doing it because here's what I know. Like I like Miss. I know Miss Montana, but she was Miss Montana a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
That most people who were Miss whatever, they don't like the like. Okay, that was like 10 years ago.
That's why I asked.
But you're currently Miss
I'm
Kentucky.
currently correct.
Yeah. And how?
What do
yeah.
you think about men competing in female competitions like you do?
Yeah.
So,
Here we go. Here we go.
So, I actually have to sign a contract saying that I'm a natural born female
In the particular system that you compete,
in the particular
Yeah,
system
but I could
that
sign
I'm in.
that contract too.
Well,
you could.
Well, no, they had that's rare because there's other
it
pageants.
is rare. Yes, it
Like
is
Miss
rare.
Universe, there's dudes in Miss Universe, isn't there?
I think so. Yeah.
A dude won Miss Universe, like
Yeah.
with the tuck back.
Let's be honest. If humanity gives men enough time, we will fuck everything up.
100%.
We will completely unwind anything that women have worked incredibly hard for and deserve. We will destroy your fucking sports. We will absolutely ruin it all.
Yeah.
Because
That's
that's
what
what
we
we do.
do.
We break things.
That's what
Yeah.
we do.
We break things.
We break shit. We tuck it back and break shit.
What's that one comedian? He's like, I'm perfectly fine with it as long as I can bet on it. Men competing in women's sport.
That
as
is
long
true.
as I can bet,
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
That's true. How do you feel about that?
Feel about what? Signing.
Men throwing in a tuck back and just calling it good, and competing in your industry and space. 'Cause
She's
it
like,
happens.
no comment.
Yeah, can I say no comment?
No, you can.
Can I say no
If you want
comment?
to.
I definitely like that my system has a stance, and I know that I'm competing against women.
Yeah.
Is that a fair answer?
No, that's very. I mean, that's Fair.
That's very
I
passionate.
wouldn't even say that's no, it's not. That's actually fair.
Everybody's belief is fair. Whether or not other people believe
Exactly.
what they believe, that's their issue. You have every right to think and feel however you want to,
Right.
regardless of what modern culture would lead you to believe.
100%.
So far, we've made it to Miss Kentucky because we are a bunch of bumbling idiots. Please introduce yourself.
So I'm Erica Hildreth, the wife of Casey Hildreth, and I'm.
Is that like how you like to be introduced?
Well, I was
It's not
looking at
getting any
him.
better.
I was
All right,
I was looking at him, and I'm not really sure.
I gave her the cue. I gave her the look. I was like,
You better.
All right. Jesus.
South man is still alive. You're also a real estate agent, right?
Full-time real estate agent. I own a marketing agency. Been doing that for about 6 years.
Okay.
all the things.
All the things. I wear a lot of hats and sometimes a crown.
Oh,
I like it.
But
you know what's really cool? You know, the coolest thing I've ever seen. Erica's great, but she gave my daughter one of her crowns. What was that crown from?
It was just one of the pageants that I had done and had those set aside, and I thought it'd be a nice gesture.
It was so cool because she put it on. She got in her princess dress and she put it on. She was so happy.
Her face, Princess
Yeah.
P.
And she was not happy when I told her I need to get that back and put it back in the case and put it up because she wanted to just like put it in the toy box and get it every once in a while. That was really cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
That was
of
really
course, of course.
Casey?
Who are you?
That's a great question. Today, right now?
Yeah.
No. So I work for Mr. Glover there, tactical training director of Fieldcraft Survival.
How about before that?
I was in the United States Army for 20 years. I'll say it, in the special operations. How many times is he going to say special operations?
I say it a lot. There's montages
It's hard
of
to
me
say.
saying it.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of content.
What community specifically?
I grew up at Ranger Regiment and then went to Selection 2004 where I met Mike for the first time and then finished out at 5th group.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a A15 guy too, a commander's and extremist force guy. And a
that
sniper.
was the last one.
A sniper.
Yeah.
Not
Sniper
as
instructor.
good as a sniper as I was, but hey, we're not comparing.
Yeah, we can. we can pull up the data if you like. Now,
do
when I first, so we were in Selection and my bunk just happened to be right across from his, and I saw he was taking off. We were sewing up our uniforms to put the white tape on and all that stuff for Selection. I saw him taking off the Tomb Walker patch, and I was like, "That's a big fucking deal, right?" So I walk over to him. I'm like, "So you're a Tomb Walker?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm at Old Guard." I was like, "Oh, that's super cool, man." He's like, "Well, good luck. Good luck to you." And we were both standing there at the end, so we just kind of crossed paths throughout our career. And then he needed instructors, put it out on Instagram, and I gave him a call. I was like, "Hey, I know there's a lot of people that want to do this, but so he hired me on the spot. I still went and did the shoot-in interview and all that stuff, but got picked up, and it's been a
Just
good ride."
a nice, cute pair of green berets.
Berets. I think you're pronouncing that
Berets.
correctly.
Yeah.
Berets, green berets.
I've said this before, but like, did they intentionally choose a painter's hat as the uniform, like, identifying device for a
Do we
badass
really want to
occupation?
start with the hat game, Andy? Don't you guys wear the little white?
The light seaman
The white
cap.
That's
white
like straight basic Navy. That's
okay.
basic.
But you guys wear that as SEALs, though, right? Or you don't have to. You don't have to.
I
have
guess
it.
you would in your dress white and your dress blue uniform. Yeah, you would.
Okay.
Yeah, John Park, who used to be a Korean Navy SEAL, is shaking his head like Rogers. That's exactly
Yeah,
what we're.
rock hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
Rock
he's still
hard
got
guy.
They
it.
take everything the U.S. military does and do it like 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that looks hard. We'll do 90% less.
Oh, they do all the water tests with their head above water. They don't have to be completely submerged.
I
right?
mean, I don't want to call John out on anything, but as an instructor, seeing the difference in curriculum between a U.S. student and a foreign student,
Yeah.
this could be rough. They have a 100% graduation rate.
100% every 100. How do we get 110% selection
If you
rate?
show up.
75% attrition for American students, 100% graduation rate for foreign students.
There you go.
Here's a fun story. I had a Greek officer who was coming through training when I was a SEAL instructor, and we do the pool comp test, and this person was unsafe in the water before he even got in the water. Like, he would put his gear on incorrectly. Nobody wanted to be his swim buddy, and the last test, pool comp, is a very difficult test. It can last for 20 minutes. I put him in, and I just let him. He crawled on his hands and knees on the line. Did you come to U.S. SEAL training, Rock Hard? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Again, correspondence course. Probably didn't even, just did it online, I guess. But this student crawled back and forth on the bottom of the pool for 20 minutes, and then I pulled him up. I go, hey, how was the test? And he looks at me and like thinks about it for a second. He goes, it was really hard. I was like, yeah, get the fuck out of the pool. Like, I didn't even want to touch the kid. He was that dangerous.
Really?
Yeah, and then I think we sent him back to Romania or wherever he was from.
Is that the one where
or
you
Greece
like,
or
Greece?
Yeah, whatever.
is that the one where you tear off the tanks and all that stuff? Is that the last
in the
one?
water?
Yeah, that's the culmination test. Yeah, but that's after a week of stuff leading up to that.
Yeah, of course.
So
That's why I never was a SEAL, because I'm not a strong. I was a strong swimmer until I realized like you have to actually like swim. My perception of that was like, yeah, I grew up in the pool, like wading water, and like grew up on the beach surfing and all this stuff, and that's not what that is.
I actually went into MEPS to go to the Naval office to sign up because I was like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Erica, do you know what all Green Berets and SEALs have in common?
What is that?
They both want to be SEALs.
Wow. Did you just make that up? That was really good.
That was like, did you just make that up? That was really good.
Super
That must
hack.
be some Bud shit. That's some old school Bud shit.
You can change it, like when I talk in front of firefighters.
Oh, you could use.
I'd be like, hey,
okay.
do you guys know what all cops and firefighters have in common? They all want to be like fill in the blank.
So it's
of
just a
what group
template.
you're- It
I
is.
like
Oh,
that.
I like the
I like it.
structure.
But given the opportunity, carpe diem, since we're using
Yeah.
weird languages that nobody understands that are good tattoos. But I digress.
You're on a roll. Is that coffee?
Hey, we bring it out in him. He just like he likes
Yeah.
showing out. in
It's
front
been
of-
it's been a long day.
It's
been a long day.
Oh, we got like 2 or 3 more of those coming up. So
I know. Yeah.
So what do you want to chat about? You were actually very specific on what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Today's a Friday episode. We will keep it a little bit shorter than the normal, but we can come back and do fuller episodes. But it's a good intro, and we can get this out quickly.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, one, as a company, Fieldcraft Survival has been doing a lot with both, Andy Stump's Black Rifle Coffee in
And
Kalispell.
Denver's, not just mine. In Denver. Andy in Denver.
Yes, and that partnership is really cool. And Kalispell, Montana, we've committed a lot to just in training. I mean, we're doing a whole bunch of training this weekend: personal security, book signing. We just did a seminar on a tourniquet application, and it's kind of like the perfect synergy of activating clientele who are like, hey man, I want to be prepared. And they go to Black Rifle Coffee in Kalispell and get all the equipment. They get the workshop, tactical, technical training, all that stuff. And we were talking about how to build a community. And one of the things that's unique about Casey and Erica, besides their amazing human beings as individuals, is what they bring together as a couple. And when we talk about resilience, we want people to be good people, individuals, healthy and well, physically fit, all the things, resilient. But we also want people to be good together as family units.
Right.
And look, all the men at this table have screwed up relationships, right?
I mean,
And-
speak for yourself.
Oh, let's not
Fuck
go
you're
there.
talking about.
other people.
Why is your
screwed
lip quivering?
relationship.
Why is your lip quivering when you say that? When we see good couples that come together and know how to communicate and understand these things, I don't know what it is, but I've been learning from you guys as individuals who have been in some fucking dark times, who have
Right.
gone through individually some shit.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. It was like, hey, man, well, one, we need a program that allows couples to train. And we've experimented with that. I ran a tactical Tinder course. That was real fun. But we didn't take it seriously. So now it's like, how do we build this? How do we have couples break bread together, get back to basics of communication, all that good shit.
Right.
And then translate that into, hey, we need couples to train together.
Right.
Because couples that train together are going to stay together, they're going to be stronger for it, and they're going to raise good families. And that's kind of like the fabric that holds this shit together. While we see the world falling apart, if we get back to those basics, we could do it right. And Casey has a plan.
Yeah. So
Can I add something to that before?
no, please go ahead.
I would say finding out a way as a couple too to leverage each other's strengths and weaknesses and work together. That's one thing we saw in the last course. What's it called? Personal protection.
personal-
There was one couple there.
Yeah, one. Yep.
And it was interesting, and I actually think it was probably eye-opening for that couple.
Yeah.
It seemed to be a set of established, I'll call it, roles.
Yes.
And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but I think you are so much more capable if you can understand strengths and weaknesses, and work together to elevate both, and then figure out how to work and navigate well as a team. That shit doesn't happen by accident. That's for sure. And it's the only way I think you can do that is to train and test yourself together. And I see that it's awesome to watch you two because you guys have, one, it's a good match of people, but you have figured out a way to work together. I know that you can lean on her, she can lean on you. It's one of the things I love the most about Leah. It's like she's a fucking rock, like ride or die for sure, right? Like, but that's not always the case. And you could say, "Oh, this is my ride or die," but if you're Superman walking around in your cape and they don't have any other skills, that shit doesn't work.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think going back to that couple we're talking about in the class is like they came in and they appeared as if they had a plan.
Yeah,
but when it was tested in fire, the entire thing fell apart.
As do most plans.
Right. And
which you don't know that until you,
of course,
flick a lighter underneath most of your plans and go, oh shit.
Right. But hopefully, that kind of exposed those weaknesses and they worked on that. They actually said that after the course. So
it was awesome.
We got to readdress that. So.
Yeah,
that's good.
Erica, what are some of the things that because to be frank and honest with the audience here, we are developing this, and we've done this in various formats, like this idea of breaking bread. But I've always wanted couples to show up and have like a date night, right? And there's no better place to do that than Andy's place here in Kalispell. Get the food truck out there, have couples come, and it's not.
We close at 8. We have the whole run of the building.
Yeah,
it's a pretty awesome place to do it.
Yeah, it's not therapy, it's not counseling, it's people coming together and getting back to basics. Hey guys, here's the rules: no cell phones. Hey, here's the rules. We're going to do some practical exercise of you talking to your spouse and working through some problem sets. We'll do some scenarios and come together stronger as family units. And when we break out and when we leave that place, that establishment, and your belly's full and you're like all high in oxytocin, you're like, what the hell just happened? You're like, oh, that's what we used to do.
Right.
And I know you guys are very intentional and very deliberate, which I love about you guys because it helps me because I'm just figuring this shit out as well. Right. What are some of the tactics that you guys have implemented into your relationship that you see kind of migrating over to something like this in a program that we would do?
Well, referencing that couple, watching it from an outsider's perspective, I always want to come from a place of being an asset, not just to rely on you. Like, obviously, I know when I'm with Casey, he's got it, I'm going to be fine, but I don't want to just be fine. But being a strong, like, independent woman, like I was a single mom for a long time, and I just got used to doing it on my own. But with Casey, I feel like I can relinquish that power to an extent. Like, I know that I feel safe. I have that sense of security that I've not always had.
Could I offer you a suggestion with that thought?
Sure.
You got to recognize, like, Casey's super capable, but numbers matter.
Sure.
And there is a point in time where it doesn't matter what kind of training that somebody has, whether it's ability with their hands or ability with a tool. Never fully let that go. Because there is a point in time where I don't give a fuck who you are.
Sure.
You're not going to be able to hold back the tsunami.
Right. Yeah. And that's part of it. We communicate. I think that's where it all begins with us. I know what her strengths are. I know what her weaknesses are. We talk about that. We convey that to each other and what we, the roles, and it doesn't matter what it's pertaining to, be it, training capability or getting a bills paid. Or our personal, like, faults or habits. We do a really good job of not projecting our wants and needs. And, like, so I have wants and needs, so I assume that that's what she wants and needs. We don't do that. Like, and it took us a bit to figure that out, but I know what it takes to keep her happy, and she knows what it takes to keep me happy.
But it's because we've been able to express that in a way that's without fear of judgment. Yeah.
So a foundation of communication.
100%.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like every single day.
And see, that's the thing. It's like I start the majority of my classes with, statistically, some of you can be better than me at this, but I've messed it up before you so many times, to include this. Like I almost messed it up, and in order to repair it, it took us establishing that line of communication and making some changes on both sides.
Is everybody at this table divorced?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
God, it sucks. It's that fucking common.
I know, right?
But what's the
4 for 4?
Not again. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
This is it right here. you know?
But how does that, it's like when you build resilience, you have to go through exposures to, adversity, right? You have to get through difficult
Careful where this road leads. Get married young, fuckers. Live life in hell. Get divorced. It'll be better the second time.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Where are we going with this?
Yeah. Well, it seems like we're all in the same position in our life where we're older, more mature.
Right.
And I think about young couples, right? Like,
Debatable.
Like Devin. Devin's a young ranger. He's a newlywed. He just his baby's on the way. Right. And he's going to be doing the health and wellness, physical fitness component of Fieldcraft in Provo. 3,500 acre square foot of just getting fit, right? That's his specialty. His wife is a physical therapist.
Right.
And he's new to this game. I mean, he's not as old as we are.
Right.
But when I see him and I see all the errors that I made when I was young, most of my errors were made because I was in the military. And my focus was allocated towards something to move myself in my position in my profession.
Right.
But now I want to move in my profession with the people I love,
right,
with my friends,
right,
and that's the distinct difference. Because I want to take everybody with me, and that's a different feeling than being almost selfish. I felt
you
very
have
selfish.
To be.
Yeah,
we talked about that. You have to be in that career. You have to be selfish in that career, whatever it may be. It does consume you, and you have a tendency to allow it to become your identity. But you have to have that level of buy-in to do that job.
What does it leave you with, though?
Exactly.
It's price versus cost,
Yeah.
I agree with you, but it's like, fuck. I was able to do the things that I wanted to do at the consequence of a nearly 20-year marriage, the impact that had on the kids.
Yeah.
And will continue. I mean, my biggest fear when I entered into my divorce was that it was going to ruin my children's perspective on marriage, that it would somehow taint that pool for them, and I don't want that.
Do you think it has?
I actually have asked them all directly about that. I'm very open with my kids. Obviously, we're right in birthday season right now, so my daughter just turned 15. Tyler turns, or Deb, depending on where
My man.
Yeah. He fucking dances to the beat of his own drum, dude. It's so awesome.
A phenomenal human being. He really is, man.
He's
I don't know.
pro.
Yeah, he's incredible,
he's
man.
away.
18 years. I mean, he's in jiu-jitsu class today trying to kill me. He goes when we're out of town on the road. It's awesome. He turns 18, though, next month, and then my oldest son, who's working at the coffee shop, turns 20 in October. And I have had very direct conversations. I don't keep anything off the table with them. I'll talk about it in age-specific terms, but if they ask about it or if I'm worried about it, we have that conversation.
Right. I think one of the best, probably the best conversation that we've ever had, we had a couple of weeks ago, that we talked about our former relationships and the mistakes that we made in those relationships. We took ownership of those between each other, and we talked about the people that we were and how much we despised that, but it was almost a survival mechanism. But we had this long conversation, and in the end it brought us even closer together, if that's even possible. But I would suggest that people have that kind. It's a tough one, but if you can allow your person, your spouse, whatever that is, be the space to be vulnerable and safe and not judge. Like I said, it was profound for me. I mean, I don't know where you stand on it. I mean, there was a couple of, she was like, okay, there's a couple of deep breaths and pauses in there, but we just laid it all out, Yeah. So.
Question for the table. Would you guys all go through what you went through in the past to find yourself with the person you're with now?
Absolutely.
100. I think it made it made me.
It made me the person that I am today.
I think that is.
I landed in the same
and I'm
place
very
too.
proud of that.
I always get emotional over this, but I'll try not to be. Every time I drop off my kids, it's tough.
It's hard,
and it's like for the first time, my son was like, it's usually my daughter, but I dropped him off and did an exchange before I came out to the first book signing at Heber,
right?
And then I immediately drove to Jackson Hole.
Hey, we know you.
Hey, did you do the book sign?
Do you want me to go get one and put it on the table?
Prepared a manual for surviving worst case scenarios. Where's that? Why don't you have a book?
Hey, allow me to interrupt you real quick, because at that, I've seen you speak quite a bit, but at that, the speech that you gave at that event, you can ask her, I was in tears a little bit.
Yeah.
Dude. That was
one?
moving.
It was good.
Oh,
it really was.
Thank
yeah.
you. I don't even remember what I talked about.
Exactly.
But honestly, I was full of emotion dropping off my son because my son grabbed my hand and he's like, "Daddy, no," and he didn't want me to go. And my son usually never does that. And we were out on the beach, like at the lake, but there was like sand, and they were sitting in the sand waiting for their mom to show up. And then she pulled up, and my daughter immediately ran to her, and my son flopped in the sand and just turned around, and he did not want to go. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. And the weight of that is, I feel like I could have made better decisions where I deliberately and intentionally had thoughts and ideas, even when things were decent, where I said, this is falling apart, and I knew it, right? Yeah. And what people don't understand and how relationships degrade is it's about your allocation of attention, right? And it's all deliberate and intentional. When you decide that's no longer an option, you divert your attention, and it could be to other people, it could be to hobbies, to whatever it is. That time not invested is where you start seeing degradation. So it's an investment, right? I broke down realizing that I made poor decisions and I could have kept it together. Now, I ultimately don't have regrets because I don't think, and we would both agree on this, both me and my ex, we were never married. We would both agree that it was better off that we live separate lives for the benefit of the children. Right. And that's the saving grace. But I want people to listen to this and understand, when you look at time allocation, I'm driven by math and the understanding of that. I'm Asian. That's how I roll. But when you take 50% of your child's life and you remove it because of your decisions, and then you take all the accountability of like the education, the sleeping, whatever, you have a very small period of time left with those children, those babies, and you lose it. And some people just don't need to be together, and some people grow apart, and that's what happens. But if you could help it because you can now refocus your attention and it's worth the investment, then do that. That would be my only advice.
So that's a hard pill to swallow, especially being a mom, and that's what kept me in a relationship for a really long time. But I feel like what gave me comfort in that is that now our children can see what a healthy, happy relationship looks like. And that's what they will look for, because I feel like we grow up seeing, and that's what our norm is, and that's what we start to look for in another human.
Yeah, because you guys, when you guys came together, you had kids from prior relationship.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's it. No more kids. She's got baby fever right now.
Of course.
Sam,
let me show you pictures of my baby.
Sam put it on.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
All right, so
How many combined children do you have?
5.
all of them.
What's going
I
on
mean,
here?
6 is an even number.
So fucking what?
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
So is 12.
Well, we don't
Hey,
need
let's
12.
do this. 12.
No,
We don't need 12, but
You're the one that
6
brought up
is
even number
enticing.
20, 40, 80.
What's the split? 3 and 2?
Yeah.
You have 2.
2 girls. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have
3.
14 and 7.
Yeah.
I think going back to what you're saying, that time being decreased, obviously, but just like with our relationship, and it's the quality of the time that you spend, which I've seen you with your kids countless times, and you do a magnificent job of that. But that speaks to the kind of person you are. Same here, like the limited time that, when I'm away and whatnot, but the time that we do have together, that is quality time. Like the attention is, and we have to make space for that, and we do. Like it's not negotiable. Period. It keeps us healthy.
This is interesting about you, Andy. You do jiu-jitsu, and Leah does as well. Has that brought you guys closer together because you have a common interest?
As long as I let her win, yeah.
Smart
Super
man.
smart.
I don't think you really let her win, though. Have you?
No one knows.
No one will know.
Yeah, ever.
She wins every time.
Yeah.
So I always wondered that. If
love that.
finding a person who enjoys what you enjoy and sharing in that and not making it, some of your hobbies that you make hobbies, it becomes work. And then you're like, oh, I don't like that. But if you're passionate about it and the person that you're with is seriously passionate about it, you guys could share that passion.
Bro.
For Lee and I, it brings us closer together. Like, I love sitting back and watching her teach jiu-jitsu.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She's so good.
And she loves it. And, she has an education background. She's got multiple master's degrees. She taught school. She's got a master's degree in biology. outdoor wilderness range.
She's so much smarter than you.
Oh, but so is that fucking cup of coffee. So it's not like the bar is very high. You know, I could barely read the book that Mike wrote.
You can listen to it.
Listen to it
6th.
on audible.com.
Exactly.
There you go.
Shameless plug.
5-star review.
Yeah, but well, except for that one guy who posted the 1-star review 2 minutes after it was released, and it's like,
Shut
God,
He had
you're
that
fast.
prep,
serious?
dude.
It had nothing to do with the book.
Yeah.
That was great.
I love nothing more than watching her. Like right now, she's in Bozeman doing a ladies only jiu-jitsu seminar through SBG. I actually think we would have had a lot more ladies at the course, but they overlapped.
Right.
And I actually think that the course, the personal protection, the intro to guns, the intro to jiu-jitsu, and then the scenario-based training, I can't think of a better training tool for women, if I'm being honest. Yeah. It's of value for men as well, but I think initially it's like women are almost on a vertical, and then guys are on a little bit shallower. Right. But so Lee and I, she's been doing jiu-jitsu a long time. I haven't even been at it yet for 5 years. I'm getting close to that. But we also have hobbies that we don't share as well.
Right.
Like she really doesn't have any interest in motorcycle riding. Like a little bit, but she has started hunting. The shared interest in things you love together, I think, is awesome. But I also think it's important that you have things that maybe you are only interested in as well, and you have enough respect and space for your partner that you can empower those things as well.
Right. That's important, man.
Do you guys have that? Because I'm interested. I know, like I have many interests, and one of them is motorcycles. Like me, like the therapy for me is like jumping on my bike and hitting the backcountry of Heber. And I don't want to share that with anybody. I hate saying that because that's my time to be alone.
Your space, right?
In
my
space.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not. But I think with she and I, the way that we require, like our wants and needs, the way that we require to be like we don't have that, and I don't really have a need for it.
Yeah,
you don't need time alone.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not good
What
by
is
myself.
that?
I'm going to be honest with you.
If you need to blink 3 times,
what's it? Slide the card.
Help me.
Slide the card
He's
over.
fine.
No, but there's
well, you don't have to have a template for everything either. Like,
Right.
not everybody has to like doing everything together. Like Rock Hard, I feel like likes to tuck his dick and walk around in front of the mirror. Right? Maybe his wife is there watching. Maybe that's his personal alone time. I don't know, John.
It's all theoretical.
You probably just got written on the mirror in lipstick.
Yeah.
And he's
It's all theoretical.
added to the list.
But I can get the visual. Right when you said that, I put it all together.
I saw it too. It's gross.
John,
It's
I love you.
I don't know if it's gross. It's
His wife loves him too with their albino dog. They can't see him walking around with dick tucked.
It's like a rat.
He's so cute. Leave Tofu
is
alone.
cute.
Isn't his name Tofu?
He is
Leave
cute.
him alone.
His name is Tofu?
Tofu.
oh no.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
I'm sorry, John.
As a
Here it
Korean,
comes.
let's name our dog after a food. Awkward.
We're going to hell.
Shit.
Fill in the empty space there as you will, people.
Right.
Let's on the topic of motorcycles. Let's talk about this motorcycle run because both Fieldcraft, Folds of Honor, you, a whole bunch of good companies are coming together, and we're a year out.
And we need to be, and I'll explain it. So, I think I was originally going to call it Satan's Butthole. This is going to be the working title. I've decided it's going to be Tip to Tip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a great T-shirt. I got a lot of ideated ideas. So it's going to be Tip to Tip.
Yep.
And because we're going from the tip of Alaska, Prudhoe Bay, as far as you can go, all the way down to the tip of Florida, which I'm not sure where that is because I avoid Florida because really weird shit happens there. But it's and if people ask me like, well, why would you want to do that? And I'm at a place where I want to do something cool every year, and it really helps me to put something on the calendar and aim towards. And actually, we need this year. Because I have a KTM 890 Adventure R, which is a great bike for around here. But that thing is smaller and I think would beat the shit out of us on that longer ride. So Denver and I were looking at it. Like these KTM 1290 Super Adventure R's are amazing. So we were able to find a pair. And the rest of the year is going to be training rides, figuring out the tires, figuring out the gear. What are we going to wear? How are we going to communicate? Like
figuring out the sidecar.
Everything. But like so Moskamoto, the motorcycle equipment company, they reached out because somebody at your organization told them about it. It's like so many brands have reached out, and I put up that one post and I got like almost 1,000 comments of people.
Wow.
Hey, like think about this for a tire kit. Think about bringing extra KTM bikes. Maybe think about bringing these pieces. Think about doing that. I was like, holy shit, this is what social media is actually supposed to be for. Like people actually sharing their knowledge on a platform, and it's like there was not a single negative comment on there. But we need that year because we got to completely dial these bikes in. We've already talked to the company up here, Alan. You met him. You went to his factory. He's going to wrap the bikes for us. So we're going to go all like a very similar matte OD green, but leave the orange of the KTM, and all the logos will be orange.
Cool.
And I want to put the Fieldcraft logo actually on the windshield of the bike,
Really
like
cool.
right up front and center. And then, I'm going to figure out a way to fundraise for Folds of Honor, just because why the fuck not? If you're going to do something cool for yourself, raise more money for more people. But yeah, we're going to have to train our ass off and ride our ass and just figure it out. Because although we are going to have a chase vehicle, you guys talking about Fieldcraft is going to provide the Sprinter van, because we got to get the fucking bikes up to Prudhoe Bay to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is, if anybody listening has a better idea, my dad and my wife want to come along, and we're not trying to like break a record. We can go with the pace we want to. I think it's going to take us between 10 to 14 days. We're going to film the living shit out of it, but I'm also not worried about like pushing content in real time because I think we can collect all that. Probably just switch SIM cards every single day. But the Sprinter van, I think, put the bikes in it, drive that with Denver and I to Fairbanks. My dad and Leah can fly in and meet us there, or Rock Hard or whomever. He'll actually probably, if there's a chase or a media truck, bring that along with. But probably leave that stuff there unless there's a media truck, and just zip up to Prudhoe Bay, document the beginning of it, and then catch them on the way back, because that portion of the road is pretty gnarly. It's like on permafrost. Not like incredibly gnarly, like not like off-roading, but like just save people that 400-mile round trip. We'll go up, hit it in the bikes, and come back, and then just figure out our way. And we'll have obviously multiple different routes that we can take, but it's gonna be badass.
Yeah, I think we're building on a media truck. We're using a Go Fast camper.
Yep.
It's John's truck, but it's all media centric. We chase you guys. We could do social media on the fly with Starlink. And then the most epic part of the trip is going to be through Canada.
Yeah.
But the most socially integrated part of the trip is going to be through the continental United States.
Yep.
So blending in, like, hey, meet and greets, people who want to ride along.
So
all
a company
those things.
so many companies have reached out. A company reached out, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I could find it. They do moving maps.
Wow.
Real-time moving maps, because I want to be able to broadcast where we are passively. So it's like, hey, come join us for this portion of the ride. Like,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
all about it.
That'd be so
But
cool.
we should do meet and greets along the way for
Yeah,
sure, because
that's
it's
gonna be
not.
epic,
It's
man.
kind of like on our own pace. However, having said that, we'll have the chase vehicle and the truck for the media. I want to do the whole thing self-supported on the bike. So tent, like all the stuff that we need to take. I enjoy that process of whittling away
Right.
and just carving it out until it's an absolute weapon ready to go, and then you execute the thing.
My goal with the T&E component that I talked to you about is we have this concept called Operate the Outdoors, which is what we recommend in resilience and building it is exposing yourself to challenges, getting outdoors, doing those things. And I want to do, Casey's talking about today, like a product line. And that product line of whether it's the light, medium, and heavy tent that you take with you, that we give you the appropriate equipment that you can R&D or T&E on the trip and make sure it works properly. But that storytelling, especially in preparation, all the lead up, all the training sessions you guys do.
Oh, it's terabytes worth of footage.
Yeah,
I mean,
what you
there's
guys
so
are
much
thinking about
storytelling there.
content,
Yeah.
that's going to be so
Yeah, but it's
rad, dude.
educational as well.
It's
It can
all- it's
actually
what-
you can
yeah.
apply that process to anything in your life, though. You
Yeah,
like
it's-
refine things and
My
have
plan is to, especially on the, like, I don't claim to be some like world-class motorcycle rider. I've ridden motorcycles for probably 15 years, but I'm not like some Jedi in the backcountry. Like, I'm just going to document everything as it goes down, and like the learning lessons along the way, and be like, hey, here's where we fucked up. This is what I should have brought, and I didn't. Because, that's how I learn. And why rob somebody of that by trying to, like, polish it up and make it look like something that it's not.
Yeah.
It's two knuckleheads who are going to try to figure out how to ride. I think it's like 3,600 miles or something like that.
Have you tested the 1290 yet?
Yeah, I'm almost at the first service interval on that thing. It's,
With 600 miles? Is that the first?
I think it's like 660, something like that. We did a full day up into Canada. We drove up into Fernie, and I was just looking at Onyx off-road. And there was an established trail. I'm like, oh, hold on, though. What's this? I love that app because I just started dropping pins in the turns, and then it's like put it right into the charging case that we have on there. Of course, can't remember the name of it, right? A quad lock that I happen to have on the bike that charges it. Lock the screen open and just navigate the whole way. And when I sent you that video of the lake where the camera comes down and then it pans out onto the bikes, that's like 3 hours out in the middle of nowhere. There was nobody there.
How far is it from Kalispell?
Man, as a crow flies, probably not that far. 150.
Wow.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah,
The
it's
border's like
beautiful.
60 miles.
Have you posted that yet, or did you just send it to me?
I have not posted that video.
You should post that on just so people can see, because that thing is that scenery. I was like, dude, did you go to freaking Chile or Patagonia? Yeah. Like, it's epic.
That's
scenery.
what Denver originally had talked about with a long distance ride, the Tierra del Fuego ride.
Yeah, that's a huge BMW.
That's a huge, but you're also most people don't even do that consecutively. They'll get to a certain distance, fly back, recover, go back. You got to go through like cartel country.
Yeah,
fuck all that.
That could get interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting enough on this, right. And then it's like, okay. Then Denver and I are already talking like next, Iceland, interior.
Dope.
Yep.
Do you think the 1290 is the right bike?
For the Iceland interior, I would take the 890. I would want to be a little bit more nimble because having been there and flown over a lot of that topography with Sorelli, I would want a bike I could throw around a little bit more.
Gnarly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had the 1190. Is it 1190?
Probably.
KTM 1190. And it was just a little bit too big, and when I used it,
it doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
it was too big.
It handled you as opposed to you handling it.
It was top heavy. It was top heavy. I didn't like it. You guys are but you guys are doing mainly road. I mean, you're not gonna. Are you going to try to hit off road? Or are you going to stick to main highways and byways?
We haven't looked at the route in a detailed perspective yet. We wanted to get the broad brushes, find the bikes. We have a year to look at routes. But like that post, there's fucking truck drivers who drive that highway up there. They're like, coming this month. This is when it cleans out. Like, this is the best. I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome.
Was that on your Instagram that you posted?
Yeah. People just like the beta that came in on that was unbelievable.
That's my favorite part of social, man.
Yeah.
Everything else sucks dicks, but that's my favorite
part. John's over there salivating.
Yeah, he was like, really?
He licked his lips.
He did.
I don't want to say that out loud. Sorry, John. I saw you lick your lips. I'm sorry.
It's all right. He doesn't have a microphone. He can't defend
It's
himself.
the hardest working.
Did I tell you about
show
this book I
business.
dropped last
You did.
Tuesday?
You not only told me, but you told everybody.
Everybody.
And when this drops,
no longer will June 6th be known for D-Day, actually, after 2023. It's the day.
Oh, my God.
It's still going to be D-Day, but drop of Mike's book day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. People are going to start returning the book to Amazon.
I'm going to link to this episode to a different book, like to Jack Carr's book.
Yeah, you should.
He already got on the list.
He's already on the list.
Yeah,
Which Mike doesn't care about. He doesn't care about being.
I actually don't. I really don't. I like people want me to care. They like Jack Carr's like, hey man, it's good. And these guys tell me, and I'm like, I didn't care about. Dude, I honestly don't, because I already know it's a political thing. Jordan Peterson sold hundreds of thousands of copies of his book with 12 Rules of Life, and didn't hit the list. Hundreds of thousands prior. During the first week, but prior in the pre-launch or pre-sales, and didn't hit it. And we have the same publisher, and it's crazy. I saw the email chains that were going on for his next book. He did hit the list for that.
But here's the thing: Jordan Peterson doesn't need to hit the fucking bestseller book.
That's true.
If you're selling, here's your choice. You get to sell 20,000 books, and you make the bestseller list, or hundreds of thousands of books, and they never write about.
Yeah.
I'll take option B.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, true. But I've only sold like 15 copies.
That's not true.
That's not true.
We didn't sell a lot.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you have.
I was trying to build it up so people could like feel sorry for me.
They're gonna go look.
Buy it.
Nobody's going to feel sorry.
Nobody's going to feel sorry for
I
you.
know. I'm just kidding. Fuck.
What else are you talking about?
Lastly, let's talk about the book that we're doing.
That I'm
Let's
writing
talk about shit that they're doing. That's
I'm
why they're
writing
here.
the forward for.
Yeah, but I don't know what's happening with this book.
Which one?
The leadership one.
Okay.
Well, I know what's happening, but what I mean is, this is different, and we'll get you guys' input on this. I want to write a book on leadership, right? We've been doing leadership seminars for years. Leadership is very unique depending on the person that talks about it, right? Some people take Shackleton expedition, like old shit they can't even confirm, and they just make shit up, and that's their leadership corporate speaking engagement. Others take military ideas and concepts from their experience, but for the first time in my life in leadership, we were at a seminar, and Andy's like, that doesn't apply. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was talking about leadership seminar, specifically about one specific thing, and he said, you have buy-in. Everybody who's working for you is underneath you. They have no fucking choice. And they volunteered. And it was like, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced as a CEO of a company having to deal with people who have different experiences, different incentives, and that model for leadership does not apply. using certain major tactics to lead a company, you will fucking fail.
Bro, let me tell you something. Here's the deal. Military leadership, I learned more about leadership of what not to do from the military than I did about leadership, to be perfectly honest with you. I feel like leadership is an individual algorithm. It depends on the person that you're trying to lead, and can you communicate with them?
Yeah.
How do I motivate this person? What motivates this person? Now, how do I incentivize?
Well, I like the way you reshaped it in our conversation where you said it's like the advice that you would give to a younger you.
That's the book I want to write. I want to write a book to my younger self. And I want to do that because, like, I could crack open my laptop. I get fucking hundreds of emails every week from mostly young men, but sometimes young women as well, who say, I don't have anybody in my life I can ask this question to. And I am not a great person to give advice. I will answer any question that somebody asks me honestly, and my hope is that they would learn from my mistakes. But why are so many people writing those emails? Why are so many people devoid of those individuals in their life? That's
the real question.
And it's an interesting balance because we are the people that we are because of the mistakes that we have made. So I don't want people to not make mistakes. But so it's like maybe they can make less, or maybe the mistakes that they make, if it's a sine wave, it's a shallower peak in a shallower valley. We can round the edges on that a little bit. But I want to make, like, there's so many books out there. I'm like, how do you lead in business and blah, blah. Like, and they're all great. Don't get me wrong. That's not the book I want to write. I don't want to write that at all.
Yeah, most young people when we were growing up, they wanted to make the mistake. And what I've recognized about, like, I guess modern society is these young men who have access, unprecedented access, especially to guys like ourselves, that when I grew up, if I had access to John Plaster and could learn about special operations, fuck, I didn't have any intel. Yeah. And all the intel, all the shit I was told was all lies. It was all bullshit. And I was like, oh, this is not how it works. But these guys are people now generally are so much more receptive to receiving information. And they were very influential and very, very much sponges for that information, which is good and bad. Like, you get the Andrew Tates of the world, right? Where they have this one narrow field and they accumulate this following. They're like, that's what this is. So there's almost a burden of responsibility, I feel like, with this book and what we're doing with it. It's like, yeah, man, like, there's a lot of people. I get the same thing, DMs and the emails. It's like, fuck, man, this is actually going to make a real good impact.
If there wasn't a need for that type of book, we wouldn't get those messages.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like people's lives are devoid of those influences, those role models.
What the fuck happened?
It's the family unit, I think.
It truly does. It boils back down to that. Yeah. And that device, it robs you of your ability to communicate. So it's easier for people to be vulnerable with a complete stranger than it is with someone in their lives. So that's why we're getting those emails. I think it's just my personal take.
Yeah, I think that too.
We have to get back to a place where we can safely communicate with each other without fear of judgment, and own your mistakes first off, and say, hey, I did this. Now I can make a change, or I can continue to live in the manner that I am. So do the next right thing and be a better person.
That's actually the first chapter I wanted to write. Good. I was going to call it The Awakening.
Yeah.
Which was the first time that I lost my trident after it was issued to me.
What?
The bar incident in Tucson where I pulled a knife on a guy. I was super young, drinking underage, and up until that point, I put everything onto everybody else. I'm just here following these. I was like in an environment. I was brand new. I was with my fucking heroes. It's all I wanted to do. If they would have told me we were going to rob a bank, I'd be like, okay, cool,
let's go.
Like, am I on the roof with the 60? Because that's kind of where I would like to be. Mm-hmm. God, I love how a fucking 60 sounds. It sounds better than the fucking modern
100%.
machine. Just guck.
One gas setting.
I know.
You get 3 bursts of flame out of that muzzle brake too.
Sexy.
It's like this weird, like.
Just remember, sunny side down, people. That's all you have to remember.
That's
right. Yeah. But that moment, I'm glad that it happened when it did, because it shattered my sense of what I thought I was and who I thought I was. And from that moment, I was like, nope, I'm fucking responsible for everything that I do. I had to have that awakening. They could have completely ended my SEAL career from that one incident in and of itself. But it changed the way I viewed leadership. It changed the way I viewed myself. There was no more like there's no hero that's going to ask me to do anything that I'm not going to think twice about. It was a complete and utter revelatory shift. And I think we are living in an environment right now where young people are not having that awakening. Everything is everybody else's responsibility. Everything is everybody else's fault. Yeah. Nothing that happens to them in their life is their responsibility. And guess what, people? Sometimes it's not your responsibility. It's not your fault, but you are responsible and you are at fault for your actions that you take when things happen to you.
I wish I'd have learned that lesson that early.
Yeah.
It
helped shape the course of my life.
Oh, I'm sure. Because I was that guy for a very long time. Like, yeah. I was consumed by the job.
And then you wake the fuck up. You have an awakening and you realize, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Yeah. Chapter 1. That's my first chapter.
Wow, it's
going to be good. I think it's needed desperately. And so this whole purpose-driven thing, it's like, it motivates me, man. I sometimes I want to crawl in a corner and just fucking suck on my thumb and just shut shit down. And
I bet you do.
I do sometimes.
I've seen it
on my own.
It's hot.
But I think
thumb-shaped things. I get it.
John licked his lips again.
Hey, I know. Don't think you can hide it back there. Nobody can see you because there's no camera on you. But it's graphic.
It's obvious.
God, he's like fucking Patrick Bateman back there.
Let me see both of your hands.
Sweating.
Let me see both of your hands, John. Okay.
It's like the Asian Patrick Bateman.
Oh man.
I peel off my mask in the morning.
He's
What's your
way too good
skincare
at
routine like, John? I'm just kidding. Erica, I want to hear more from you. You haven't said shit this whole time.
Talk about stuff, babe.
I know. We're just sitting here like dominating the conversation. It sucks.
Ask me something.
How is it like? What is it like being married to a former special forces guy? Because I know that's different. If you're married to a team guy, if you're married to a military guy, especially a soft guy, that's not normal. And let's not pretend it is. How has that been for you?
How has that been for me?
Should I put on earmuffs, babe?
No. So we were taking you way back. So we were thrown into a group chat by a mutual friend, and instantly I saw that he was different because I had been surrounded by guys who were intimidated by me for whatever reason. Just say, because I'm ultra hot. I'm ultra hot. I'm not saying that.
I know.
What do you mean? Why people?
I assume that's what it is because
You
it
haven't
was.
figured this out yet?
Yeah.
She's talking about cunts.
I was thinking cucks.
Same.
Beta.
Interchangeable.
Same.
Oh,
Same.
okay.
Same.
Interchangeable.
Same.
Equal sign of it.
Beta.
Beta cucks.
That's exactly what it is.
That's
Beta.
That's
Beta.
powerful. That's bottom bunked, rock hard, fucking biting that pillow. But also,
You're winding him up.
Why are
dude.
you getting
Don't
me?
do it.
but also he's arching into it. It's so hard.
Oh my god! I just saw that.
This took an interesting turn.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, but you.
No, I just instantly saw a difference because there wasn't a hesitation in just having a conversation with me, which surprisingly,
I can see that. You're intimidating for betas, but a lot of guys, I assume that even the guys that you were around were big, burly, handsome, whatever, but they were just intimidated.
yeah, just intimidating.
Is there a Mr. Kentucky?
He is Mr. Kentucky.
That's not a thing.
I mean, I know you've been on Vogue, but
I saw
cover.
that.
yeah.
I don't know.
The actual cover.
Jose,
Drop the VO.
No,
Gosh,
seriously, is
it's
there
really
a
good.
Mr. Kentucky?
So there's not a pageant. No, not that I'm aware of. But
Sexist.
Yeah, right.
What were we
he's
talking
my Mr. Kentucky.
Talking about being married to a soft
Just
guy.
being.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's different than what I have experienced in the past.
Like crazier? Like a good thing or a bad thing?
A great thing.
A great thing.
Yeah, a great
Crazier.
thing.
Where did that come from?
So
No, I mean, like-
we are both crazy.
Like
to
wild-
be fair,
wild
our
crazy.
crazies match each other.
100%. I think
Everybody's crazy, too.
So here's the deal.
The good people are.
Here's my take on it. I'm nothing special, but
That's right.
I make her feel safe, as I'm assuming you do with Leah and you do with Jess. Like,
I just hold him to Leah's pocket when we walk around.
I don't blame you. I would too. But that's something that is hard to find for, and this is, dude, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'll caveat it with that, but I think that the safety that we provide, like that's that's important to women, and it used to be more common. I feel like, and it's slowly, like societally speaking, it's coming less and less, available. I don't know.
Women now seems like
There's no
you can speak
reason.
to this.
Yeah.
Like women now want girlfriends. It's almost like I've seen guys and I'm like, that dude is going purse shopping with the missus and they want a girlfriend.
I mean,
Like a companion or a
not-
companion.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Companion.
I'm going to guess right now that Casey has been purse shopping with
Oh,
Erica.
100.
Based on the,
Oh, he
I was gonna
goes
say-
I know
shopping with
things
me.
just got weird.
I mean,
But-
again, you
Wow,
have
dude.
taken some interesting like you were going down some dangerous
Why did
territory.
John just lick his
and
lips
that-
again?
Maybe they're chapped.
I have.
You've done some interesting, like you went down a dangerous path
does a
with that
lot
little
of
hair
things he
thing.
doesn't
at
wanna
the-
do.
So I was like, Mike.
So we support each other in a way that is beyond just saying you support somebody. It's the actions that follow that,
100%.
and whether that's
Even when you don't
shopping
want to.
or packing around the pageant bags or whatever. It just it's
Oh, you do that?
Guys.
he's such a gentleman. He opens every single door that I
that's
walk
what
into.
Oh, you were telling me about the bikini portion, how you were supporting all the women in that section. that
Supporting
segment.
all the
He's
women
making that up, babe.
or
Just so you know.
me.
Oh, that was a joke. You did not.
Oh,
say
I know.
that.
You know, Mike. You
I
know
did
you
not.
made
Yeah,
that
I
up.
just made that shit up.
I know
I'm
you
sorry.
did.
I apologize. That
I
was a
can't
lie.
believe how rude the things that you say are. Thoughtless, even.
Yeah. Wow.
But no, instantly, he's just very confident in himself. Like we've all messed up, and he just isn't afraid. Isn't afraid to share that. I could tell instantly that I could communicate with him in a way that I haven't always felt comfortable doing.
Do you even care what he used to do in the Army?
No, not really.
That's the best answer
Well,
right there.
that's the thing. I don't identify as that anymore. You know what I mean? That's
Like that's not what attracted me to him.
3 out of the 4 of us at this table, though, are aware of social groups that the only thing they fucking care about is what their husbands or boyfriends did/are doing in the military.
boy. Yeah.
It's real. It's real in the community I came from. I'm going to make the assumption.
Really?
Really?
Wearing
Yeah.
the rank and wearing the
Really?
braid, wearing
That's
the
a thing?
trident. Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Do you have? I have listened from a distance, and I'm going to say this as gently as possible. People talking about their significant other, and he's in more danger now than he's ever been. This deployment he's on. I've heard it, and I just got up and fucking left.
I haven't experienced that.
That's sad, man.
It exists though in all of the communities that we came from, for
Yeah.
sure.
100%.
I don't talk with Leah about my old job. I don't think she gives a shit. My kids don't care, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
When I was introduced to him, it literally showed me a pic, said he was a good guy, great family man, showed
Yeah.
me his kids through us.
What do you think about that tattoo on his arm when you first saw it, though?
Which one?
You know which one.
Oh, he explained it to me.
How
I was
did he
like,
explain it to you?
Oh yeah. Here
Did
we
he
go.
talk
How did
about
he
things
explain
like
it?
Thermopylae?
Verbatim?
That's
How did
exactly
he tell you
how
I
he
was
was
like-
for the Spartan?
I was like, that's interesting.
It was funny. Andy sent me a picture the
Funny
other
you should
day.
ask. It is interesting. The Spartans were holding Thermopylae and said we would fight in the shade.
Andy sent me a picture from the Alamo the other day, and it says, "This is Molinlabe, Texas style."
It just said, "Come and get them" on the flag. He writes back, "Yeah, it worked out for them the same way too."
Did he make you watch 300 and tell you that's
I've
what
seen
he's-
300 a long time ago.
Who did you watch 300 with?
I mean,
Did you guys know that I was on that movie set? That's how I met Mark Twight. Spent
Really?
about a week up
Really?
there. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
What
You
happened
know
to
that
Mark Twain?
entire he's lived down in Salt Lake City. You know that entire movie that occurs outdoors was shot indoors, except for 1 or 2 scenes with
Did
the
not know
horses.
that.
Oh, it was all CGI.
It was wild, man. Some of the biggest, like these huge boulder areas, and they would just move the camera around and change the world that way.
This thing's shot beautifully, though. There's a lot of
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a beautiful movie,
Zach
yeah.
has a very interesting
Yeah.
style, and you can see that in some of the Batman stuff too.
Did you follow Twight's stuff when you were in the military? Did you do his workout program?
He was my introduction to CrossFit. Jim Jones was it wasn't Jim Jones at the time. Or maybe it was. I can't remember exactly. He was listed as a CrossFit affiliate.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
That's so
kidding.
bizarre.
He had a falling out with CrossFit as an organization, and Jim Jones grew and came out of that. I forget the name of the program that he's doing right now, but he's in Salt Lake. He's got a gym, not very far from.
I've been to the gym before.
Yeah, it's not very far from the BRCC
It's really cool,
headquarters.
yeah.
He is fucking world class alpinist. Like when that
Yes.
dude talks about being outdoors, shut the fuck up. get a piece of paper out and a pencil and start writing stuff down.
I used to study his shit, especially
Yeah.
the VO2 max stuff at elevation.
He's an absolute scientist. Yeah.
He was the master of load bearing, and then the weight, and then how it changed your VO2 max and how it changed your ability to climb.
One of his quotes has changed how I think about even packing on for the motorcycle trip. He goes, dude, what if weighs a lot? Like, motherfucker.
Wow.
You're right.
Yeah.
It kind of does.
That's profound.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What if weighs a lot?
That should be the name of a book.
Literally and
Yeah.
figuratively.
Somebody jot that down.
Maybe will.
Mike, sorry.
It's coming out on June 6th.
2020. We're going to release our book next year.
I feel like you're not going to end up writing this, or ChatGPT is going to write it for you.
Oh, don't judge me.
won't judge
just
you.
shh. It's like shh. I will have 5 chapters on the same.
We're each going to do
subject
5. And then I'm going to insert some of the stuff from the old blog I used to have in there, too.
Awesome. You're an avid writer. I notice you write a lot. Do you do journal writing?
No, I don't write really much anymore. I stopped writing a lot when I started doing the podcast. I don't write quickly, and the podcast is a way faster way to get your thoughts out.
Okay.
However, hard to get the words back into your mouth after you said them, and I just came to peace with that.
Hey, man.
You know,
To each their own.
Say what I want.
To each their own. When is this dropping?
next Friday.
Awesome. When do you think we can have this course put together? The dinner, the course, in
The couples
Kalispell?
course.
Where
Let's
we
do it
looking
next
at?
month. Well, just depending on
It's
availability.
June right now, right? July.
Yeah.
We need to do it in July.
July.
I bet you the nights or the evenings here are beautiful.
They're absolutely beautiful. Some will go down to like 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Right.
It's one of the busiest times in the valley, but again, we have that whole
Right.
indoor space. We're actually going to have a full-time food truck there starting next week, so it'll be Mexican food that's going to be on site. It's awesome.
At the BRCC?
Yep.
Oh,
That's what that
That's
asphalt area, like where the pop-up tents were, that's for food trucks. We have already the hardwired electricity and stuff like that. But I want to bring – I can't think of a course that you offer that I don't want to bring up here. Because today, at the end of the Pillars of Preparedness, where you taught tourniquets, and even a lot of people raise their hand like, oh, yeah, I have a tourniquet. I've gone to training. It's like, get up here and just pay attention.
interact. Yeah.
I asked them, because it's like, fuck, we have a captive audience. What would you guys want to see? It was like overlanding. What else was there?
Outdoor wilderness survival.
Wilderness, like first aid, which is huge up here. People going hunting in
Right.
onesies and twosies. A lot of solo hunters as well. But I think we could do, it was overlanding specifically as well. I don't know of a course that you guys do that you couldn't do up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Navigation, if only there was places up here that you could walk through and
Wonder where
navigate.
we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, the night vision course would be the hardest one because you'd have to start at fucking 2 a.m.
Right. That'd be fun. Though. Be a good time.
Yeah, it's really cool because this place does offer the availability of all the things that we talk about.
Airport that's a hop away from Salt Lake City. It's a drive. I mean, make a vacation out of it. Flathead Lake, the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi, is just south of us. Glacier Park, which I'll be honest, I think is better than Yellowstone.
Yeah. Yeah.
More people know of Yellowstone than Glacier, even though millions of people do go up there. I still think that it's less than Yellowstone. Fucking fantastic hunting, like whatever you want to do, it's up here.
I don't know, the people here are rad too, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's like so kind, and they're saying hey to you when you're walking by and stuff. So
There's one Black Rifle Coffee in Montana. It's right here. I mean, you should probably come visit.
I know a guy over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Ask for Deb. He'll hook
Ask
you
for
up.
Deb. He'll take care of you.
He's so cute.
What about the app? Is the app live?
It's live right now on the computer. You can get it on.
That's called No.
No, it's live. You could actually get the education, but the app component, which is the actual downloading of the button you push. So the education's live, but the app component will be live in 3 weeks.
Leah has all that jiu-jitsu content if you guys are interested.
We are.
Oh yeah,
So
for
we
sure.
Are. We are interested. I think online learning is like a good baseline. We encourage people to come out and actually train in person and interact with human beings, but just a lot of people can't get out.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are.
if you can only do online,
busy.
do it. But most people, to include myself, online takes you to the point where you go, you know what? I need a little hands-on with an expert.
I think if we could use that online content to kind of expose people to what they don't know, because let's be honest, a lot of guys and a lot of gals out there is like, I know how to shoot, or I know how to land nav and all these things. Well, do you let us show you what we know, and maybe we're just adding to your tool bag.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, we're not part time in it. These guys who teach us, the Kevin Estellos, the Ambers, the you, are doing it full time. It's their only passion from their experiences. And it's like, you ask me about preparedness survival, I have no freaking clue. I could tell you, like, hey, there's a softwood and a hardwood. You rub the shit together. You could maybe make a fire. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But Kevin Estella is that guy. He lives it.
Yeah.
He's consumed with it.
He's
He's a
deep.
psychopath.
Yep.
way deep. Yeah,
Way
he,
deep.
He could walk into the woods with nothing and just be just fine.
He'll just be fine. He'll love it. He want to do that.
Yeah.
Erica, what's your favorite Fieldcraft course?
I'm a huge fan of the personal security. Before I took it, we were actually having a conversation, and both my parents were Marines. They met in the Marine Corps, and that was just kind of how I grew up. So we were just having a random conversation one day, and I was like, I want to, in my mind, how would I show up? Like, I think I know how I would want to show up, but I don't really know until I'm put in that scenario.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciated so much, was because it gave me the confidence. That's what I feel like personal security gives you. It gives you the confidence because it shows you what you would naturally do. It gives you the opportunity to work on those things. And I'm a huge fan. And I think that leads into, it's a good foundation to the other classes that we offer.
She told me after that, she's like, that changed my life.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
You know what we could add to it that I think would be interesting is just Whoop chest straps. I would love to
Watch heart rate.
Watch heart rates on the people getting introduced into the scenarios. I'd be curious to see what their baseline is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I actually just got this Apple Watch, which is pretty. It's a lot cooler though. That would be the guy sold me on it in Missoula, but I could put the watch on the student tomorrow.
That's really cool.
And then we could assess and see the heart rate.
Yeah,
change.
I think we could do better with like a. I'm not saying
Like
that's
a
not a bad
actual
idea, but I
heart
think
rate
we could get an
monitor?
actual
Just
heart rate monitor and
Something to watch,
Yeah.
like the physiological manifestation of like the stress
Whoa,
being in
what
it.
the?
Just shows the.
That was deep.
I know.
I've never heard you say those words together.
I know words.
He's super smart.
He is.
I'm a
Yeah.
bit of
Oh.
a provocateur.
Genius.
he's not.
It has nothing. That was not in context.
He doesn't-
I just wanted to say that. I
Mike.
just wanted to say it because he's
John
such
licked
a
his lips again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he doesn't come from the bourgeoisie. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know stuff. I'm a knower. My son tells me, he's like, "Dad, you're a knower." I'm like, "I certainly am, son."
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm a
I'm a
knower
knower.
too, just in case.
What do you want to
don't
close out with, Erica? Let's go around the table. Closing thoughts.
I'm just really excited for this course. You know, we were talking about everything that Fieldcraft offers, and I feel like this fills a gap for couples in America. Strong couples who want to be surrounded by couples that are strong, that are happy in their marriage, that want to be happier in their marriage, learn more about themselves, learn more about their spouses. So I'm really excited about it, looking forward to it. Like, why not dive headfirst?
And we could actually make it into a date night.
Oh,
no.
I think that's going to be part of it.
I think that's
it'd
a
be
thing.
smart.
Yeah, it's like a date night, weekend thing. Everybody I've talked to about it is really excited and feels like they'd want to be a part of that. So
Indeed.
Casey, closing thoughts.
Just I like to express the gratitude that I have for the opportunities that you guys provide for us. I'm thankful for the friend circle I have. I'm thankful for my beautiful wife and her support and everything. And I'm thankful for you guys' support. I really appreciate it.
Mike.
so
Hey,
sweet.
did you know June 6th, my book?
Yes, yes.
He did it,
I'm
folks.
just kidding.
I
I'm
was
just
so
kidding.
hoping you were going to
I'm
do
just
that.
kidding, but the link's down below. So when you,
It actually is a very good book.
Yeah, it is good.
I am. This is how it works, right? When we evolve this company, when we evolve these relationships, it's based on things that we see in real time. And that could be problems, that could be looking for solutions. The leadership thing happened very organically over the course of 2 years. I've been talking to Andy about this for years.
I don't even remember how we agreed to do it the first time anyway.
Yeah, it was just, it happened naturally. There was
Yeah.
no forcing it. It was like, hey, in fact, it was like, okay, it's time, right? It's like, it's not time. It's like, oh, I'm seeing the traffic. It's time. And I think that's what we do. We're problem solvers, but we also want to help people be successful. But in that, we see the evolution and growth in ourselves and our friendship network. And I think that's what's important. I always look at Fieldcraft. I look at Andy, our relationship, all the things that we do together as family. And it's cool to see these things happen, these ideas spark. and then us to follow through with it. And that's what you should expect from us all the time. It's like, yeah, sometimes the good idea fairy, like, we're creating fiction, and it's difficult to get there. But everything that we said, the app, the book, all these elements that we've been talking about, I think are important now, because I think a lot of people are looking for these things, these outlets. And certainly, I don't want to just isolate it to Kalispell. I think it could be advantageous across the country in different formats. But
It's a good test platform, though.
Yeah, it's a perfect test platform,
100%.
because we have a beautiful market of amazing people here who are interested in preparedness, and I'm just looking forward to the opportunity.
Amen.
Cool.
Andy?
What's
Your
your closing
turn.
thoughts? You have to close out with some thoughts.
Oftentimes, I don't have deep thoughts.
Most.
Andy, I never know what you're going to say.
Oftentimes, when people think I'm paying attention, I'm not. When they think that I'm thinking,
You're really attentive. You're really attentive. I've
He is.
podcasted with human beings where I could see their eyes roll in the back of their head, and I'm like, "Oh,
He's
not,
gone.
sounds like a riveting podcast.
Yeah,
gone.
you're not paying attention at all, but
Yeah.
you're attentive. At least you pretend to be.
He's keyed in for about 3 to 4 seconds. If you lose him after that, he's done.
He's gone.
Yeah.
But
I'm
he's-
like Google. I catch keywords, and brings me back in.
Yeah, that's a good point. You do
Chad
that.
GPT.
Yeah, I got nothing. Be the best version of yourself.
Amen.
And with that,
Thanks for the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
That's awesome.
yeah, of
My
course.
first podcast.
Was it your
Oh,
first
yeah,
one?
it's your
I'm
first
Yeah.
Aw.
gonna tell you right now, the three of us completely fucked it up then, because we should have basically just been asking you questions
Highlighted
the entire
yeah.
time.
It's a horrible experience for you. We apologize.
Yeah, but if
make
you
it
come
up to
back
you.
on, it's gonna be the same experience. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
I figured. I totally figured.
all right.